RuneScape is a game that has a lot of content that will just keep accumulating as time goes on with the weekly updates the game gets. As a result, content gets overshadowed and players like to refer to it as dead content. So let's talk about it. Should that content be removed? To simply put, it's content that no one uses. There's a difference between content that isn't meta and content that no one uses. Both should not be confused. Short answer, no. When it comes to content in RuneScape, while not every piece of content needs to be the most efficient or as the best reward, a lot of content in the game is simply content that people tend to use once or twice. While yes, it isn't used by everyone, the fact that people tend to still use those pieces of content even if for a niche one-time use means that they are contributing to the game world by making it feel more important and useful and overall more active. And even if it were the case that no one uses it, I would rather see Jagex try to make it more usable by reworking it, giving it different rewards, add patches to solve issues players might have with it, rather than just outright remove it from the game. There are mainly two reasons. The emotional attachment. By removing content no one does, it makes every piece of content in the game feel like it has an expiration date. It makes it feel like we are just waiting for the day no one uses it to simply remove it. This makes it hard to create any attachment to the game and its content, since most things only exist to serve a purpose where the player's relation to the game doesn't actually matter and everything only serves a short-term service gameplay goal. This ruins the immersion players have in the game world, as for many this is more than just a game, much like books or movies are more than just entertainment. Humans love art because it connects with us, regardless of the amount of views we give it. And secondly, it's not good for the development of the game. As I've mentioned earlier, I would have more confidence in a game development when the people behind it can show they know what the content is about and put effort into making it more useful. If the only answer a dev can give to content that sees no more use from players is to just outright remove it, I'm not gonna be confident in the future and especially long term of the game and its development. The content also plays into future systems and can be tied to other pieces of content. Looking at the collection log in old school RuneScape, while many pieces of content still aren't all that useful, many of them have seen more of a use since many of them are tied to the system outside of the content itself, which in this case is the collection log. In RuneScape 3, due to the lack of many of these systems and a much bigger emphasis on efficiency, content sees much less use and overall is at bigger risk of simply just being removed, as players prefer to look forward for the new content that is going to come out and don't favor as much old school's approach of improving already existing skills or pieces of content currently in the game. In RuneScape 3 we have the Sawmill, something that as far as I know got a couple of changes once and that was it. While it wasn't the most popular place ever, it was also due to the fact that there weren't many rewards related to it and the content was mostly reliant on XP rates, which obviously got outshined as the years went on. I would have loved to see Jagex try and bring it back to life, even by putting Fort 4 in 3 next to it and connecting both pieces of content. Fort 4 in 3 was a good update and Jagex had the perfect opportunity to revive an old piece of content by bringing a shiny new one next to it and making it overall more useful by connecting both. It would have been more work, but in the long term I think it would have created a better impact and legacy in the game. In old school RuneScape we have Current Favor. This mechanic was in the game for almost 9 years before it was removed, and while I don't want to go over all of the problems they had, especially since I already made a video about it a couple of months ago, but Jagex did very little to try and fix not just the region but the favor system as a whole. Instead, we just got it removed, which doesn't invoke a lot of confidence for the region going forward. Overall, these just feel like wasted developer time, since while they came out, they were used, it felt they never really mattered and it was just a matter of time until they got removed and replaced. Reworking does take far more effort, but I would wager it sees better outcomes in the long term. It makes content feel like it actually matters and is part of the game, and players don't feel like they are wasting their time by interacting with a piece of content and giving feedback to the developers because, well, it might just be removed from the game, it's never gonna be improved. To simply put, there are obviously exceptions to removing content. If content is game-breaking, it creates harm or just ruins other people's experience, then by all means, remove it. I don't want this video to come across as absolutist in the sense that it's always wrong to remove content. I just think Jagex, especially in RuneScape 3, should put far more effort into the existing game world than simply removing it and replacing it with a shiny new thing.